Welcome to Airship Archaeology, featuring Taylor, Isaac, and Sam. I am the announcer guy, and I am excited to be here. On to the show.
I realize I make the amount of numbers that we do bigger each time, so sorry about that, because in like 3 weeks we'll have to do a whole minute, but it's just nice to have that.
By the end of season 1, we're gonna have like 10 minutes of us just counting before we begin. It's gonna be great.
It'll just become the counting
podcast.
podcast.
I mean that could be our thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Isn't there some internet project where people just count and they're on like 1.5 billion or something right now?
I love that.
I think there's a subreddit.
Okay.
It's just counting.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's time.com. That's people counting. Time.gov. Sorry.
Each of those seconds represents a person in India somewhere.
Or per neighborhood. God, never know.
Mm-hmm. So what's new with you guys?
Well, I hear one of my friends is about to take an exam, his first exam or final in law school.
I heard that too.
Well, it's not my first final in law school. It's like my 5th final, but it's my first final of the semester. Yes, it's in property.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm.
More like in theft. That's an inside joke.
Yep, it's way more funny right now. It's great.
Yeah, but I'm excited. I feel prepared.
That's good.
I'm excited to get it done with. I'll be done with finals by next Wednesday, so summer starts for me, and then I can work and make some money. So that'll be good.
Nice.
Money. What you have a summer job lined up?
Not yet. I have a job offer at an ice plant.
Oh.
What?
Literally, just the company just makes ice. It's like they make the ice that you find in like 7-Eleven things and at Costco and whatnot. Like
Polar Bear or whatever that company is. One of those.
Yeah, and it's honestly it's not like the best thing, but it's cold and summer's hot, so it's kind of appealing because of that.
There you go. Go work for Slurpee.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Ooh,
Slurpee Thursday.
Mm.
Well, that's wonderful. While you're let's see, counting ice, I presume you'll be doing, or making laws about ice.
Exactly. It's ice law.
Oh, great. Does that mean like because it's melting up at the North Pole or something, you're gonna have like new laws about how much each person gets in their refrigerator and etc. That's where ice comes from, right?
Ice rationing is a very big problem coming up. There's actually a new Supreme Court case. It's about the amount of ice per person, and Nestle actually doesn't think that ice is a human right. So, we've got lots of lobbying there.
Well, what I understand is actually with the way the economy is changing, some people are proposing that we move to a universal basic ice income, where everybody gets a little bit of ice.
That's true. That's a fantastic segue.
Thank you. First actual good one I've made.
Yeah.
So universal basic income. This is one of Sam's topics. It's you, Sam, the third person. So
yes.
Take us away.
Hello. Okay, well, universal basic income. Have you guys heard of that before?
Yes.
No, not that exact phrasing, but yeah, I know what we're about to talk about.
Yeah, so it's pretty much the idea. I mean, there's a whole bunch of people that universal basic income or like a minimum income or whatever, and so there's not like one train of thought, but I guess probably the most prominent train of thought would be that as opposed to providing a lot of the welfare programs that governments provide, you just cut a check to every adult for a certain amount of money, like every month or like every pay period, I guess even. And the idea is that then there's a lot of people it's a very salient topic now. So I guess maybe that's why we're hearing about it more, just because there's a lot of people who feel economically unstable, especially like in our generation. But the idea that the government would just give everyone money is just really interesting to me, and there's a lot of problems with it I see, because there's a lot of possible problems because it hasn't really been done, at least to the extent like to get some good data on it. But the idea, some big detractors of it claim that it's going to like disincentivize work, and that's just going to like slow down the economy as a whole, which would be bad. But again, we just don't have enough data on that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't have
What do
a
you-
like big, thorough, in-depth understanding on this, but the context in which I've seen it discussed usually is in reference to like developing technology, especially in areas like automation,
Mm-hmm.
where you look at people theorize that maybe within X timeline, there won't be any humans driving trucks around, 18-wheeler trucks, or driving around taxis or these kind of things. And that's an enormous employer in most states in the U.S. And so once you have some of these technological changes, the theory is, well, maybe that hurts the economy to such an extent that that a measure like this becomes necessary. And to where, as automation increases the efficiency of the economy as a whole, part of what that's going to do is eliminate tons of jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, in that context, it's easy to see, well, maybe that makes more sense. I don't know.
Yeah. And so have you guys heard of the website 538.com?
I have.
I have not.
Yeah, a website that they're huge on statistical analysis, but they apply it in a whole bunch of arenas. So it's like politics, economics, sports, of course, and that's actually what gave me the idea to talk about it here. Is they just had a recent feature on universal basic income, and so I'd recommend going to check that out sometime just to read about it, which is really interesting. But they're saying also that this isn't 2011, so it's a little dated, but like public social spending in the U.S. totaled per capita about $700 a month, which seems like not that much. But the thing with that would be really interesting is there's a lot of people, I feel like, that wouldn't necessarily quit their job if they were to receive this, but people that maybe could cut back on work or even go back to school because they're replacing a source of income with that. And again, just like it's the same thing with minimum wage, where we don't really have a lot of like raising the minimum wage higher than it's been before. We don't have a lot of hard data on it, and so you kind of just want it to happen and see what happens. But I don't know. It's pros and cons that I can see. So it's interesting.
It feels like one of those very Star Trek kind of concepts
Mm-hmm.
that, like, it works because it's in the Star Trek setting. What would be interesting to me is to figure out how we get between here and there, kind of. Because, right now, I'm going to say probably universal basic income not necessary, You could try it on a scale the size of the U.S. It'd be an enormous project, but, it's not necessary. But it's one of those kind of transitionary things. Maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way. Maybe progress is always just kind of gradual and always rolling on, but I don't know. It's a cool thing to think about for sure.
Yeah, and something that the 538 piece that I read brought up would also be a decrease in administrative cost, just because currently there's so many different welfare programs. Like there's SNAP, TANF, CHIP, WIC. Like those are, like within the United States, there's so many different programs that help provide services. And so if instead of having to like evaluate people's means and then distribute money and distribute services and vouchers and whatever based on that, if you just literally just cut a check to people every month, like that would save money there. Obviously it wouldn't, like, I don't know, it's not like that would save so much money that it would pay for itself, but there's just a lot of things that I hadn't thought about before. But like you were saying, it's very Star Trek-y, and it feels like 5 years ago that this wouldn't even, like, we would talk about it and it'd be laughed away almost. And so I wonder how much its prevalence is, like, I guess people being dissatisfied economically, but then also, as you're saying, Isaac, the increasing automation and just that kind of that looming threat in a sense, even though it's not really a threat, but it feels like it sometimes.
Yeah, and that's maybe a topic for a future podcast too. Is there's a lot of people that do believe that automation is this enormous threat kind of looming on the horizon, and there's other people that point to say, well, the people said the same thing about cars and about every other technology that's ever come along. The Greeks said that about writing, and it's like, oh, now nobody's gonna remember anything, and it's all, it's not a new argument, but yeah, we'll see.
I mean, I guess you can kind of think like in like a information era, I guess even post information era society, it kind of makes sense that the goal of any country or any nation state would be to not have to have your people work and to be able to devote their like passions and efforts to what they really enjoy. But yeah, it's like the big like transfer of how you get there, and would it really work out that way? And yeah, there's just so many unknowns. But, You have any thoughts, Taylor?
Not a lot. I mean, I know every argument against welfare-like things, or even cutting a check, is no one's going to have incentive to work, and without work, things won't get done properly. But, I mean, I don't know any smaller arguments other than that, but I know that's what was happening in the 90s when the Clinton administration added all those welfare programs, and so it's like people are going to say, well, now they're not going to work because they're getting all this quote-unquote free money, and they're not going to have a reason to help the economy with that money because they're going to just use it for food or other necessity things for them, but they're not actually making it. So, but again, like I don't know much about it all. I haven't read a lot in terms of that. But I do know there are people out there who desperately need money, right? There are people living on under $2 a day and living just on scrap money to feed their kids, and don't have a house, they get evicted, and they're on the streets, and then that costs money in various ways. So it's always going to be a tricky, nearly impossible to figure out idea, I guess, over time. Excuse me.
It's interesting. So Canada, from 1974 to 1979, the Canadian government partnered with the province of Manitoba, and they ran an experiment. And there was a town of about 10,000, but then it was in a smaller number of residents elsewhere. They kind of tried a universal basic income, but it wasn't done in a way that it was at least with the standards of experiments today, that it is considered like a good experiment. But in that experience, apparently there was one moment.
There was a moment.
Like mental health hospitalizations fell dramatically. High school completion rate ticked up, with 16 to 18-year-old boys in particular. Younger adolescent girls were less likely to give birth before age 25, and it brought most recipients above Canada's poverty line. And it's like for primary earners, those with full-time jobs, there was virtually no decline in work. People weren't quitting their jobs. And again, like that's just one small imperfect example, but that also sounds too good to be true. Like if that's just what it was, why wouldn't we just do it? Yeah. I think that's a problem for people at a higher pay grade than us to figure out, though.
There it is.
But it's always fun to think about that kind of thing, because we're obviously a part of the economy, regardless of how small our impact is. So to think about what we get and what we're putting in and putting out or taking out is, it's crucial.
Yeah. And I mean, even thinking about it personally, for me, I'm married and my wife works full time. But then if we were also each receiving a certain amount of money, like we're doing just fine, but like how much more that could go to, I'd be taking out less loans to go to law school. Like I would still be, at least theoretically in my mind, I would still be going to law school, and that would just decrease the loan burden on me. And then once I get out, it's like, at least personally, I view that as a way to just increase my savings and to increase stability. And I still want to work. Like I don't want to be inactive. And so, but that's one person in a 320 million population country. So if only people were more like me.
That's right. If everyone was like Sam. If everyone went to law school, can you imagine? We'd all be best friends.
Or we
Forgive
hate each other.
forgive my ignorance, but where does the money come from for these checks?
Well, I think it's the idea is you're removing all other welfare, like all or most other welfare programs.
Okay.
So it's just really simplifying it. But the idea that it also goes to everyone.
Yeah.
At least this is like the mainstream idea is that it goes to everyone. But I could also see it. I think a more palatable situation would be if you're making below a certain amount.
Yeah, I mean, because it's weird. Because you think of people making next to nothing, they get a check, fine, because they're already on, or say they're already on welfare. Their welfare, like SNAP, goes away. They get a check in the mail, which is kind of the same thing, except it's real money. But then people in the upper middle class to the higher class, are they getting the same amount, or do they not apply? You know?
Yeah. Just one of those things you got to figure out if it were to happen.
Well, one of the things that one of the proposals that I've seen is making it essentially like a negative tax.
Yeah.
Like building it in. We already have the EIC and a couple of things, but building it into the tax code instead to say, so if you as a household, two people are making, $100,000 a year, you're not going to see any of that, but to essentially just turn that into make that check that you write, make that your tax return.
Yeah.
And so you process all of your information, all of the money you've earned in the year, and you spit it out, and you say, well, we're going to give you $18,000 or whatever it is.
Sure.
And that's one of the ways that people have theorized to sort out like the logistics of it. But
That kind of makes sense.
that's as much as I know.
Then eventually we're going to have to do our taxes every month and then every week, and the IRS will have a bazillion employees, and there'll be lots of jobs.
For only those who want them.
Yep, for only those with accounting degrees.
Well, nobody's taking them because they just want a paycheck.
Yeah, right.
Love the office water cooler talk. Did you see the big game last night? Yeah, I can't believe he punched that bird in the face.
Oh, the future sounds great.
What sport is this? Wait, what sport is
It's
this?
hunting.
Taylor? I mean, Isaac.
It's hunting.
This is baseball theoretically. I mean, back in the day, Randy Johnson
So
threw a
is this
pitch.
co-ed baseball? Is that what you're talking about?
Britishisms.
Quite Anglo-philific.
Did you say that mate? He punched a bird.
Poor girl.
I'm Michael Caine.
Okay, so the other day in contracts class, we were talking about a case, and someone was talking about it, and like the location or something, whatever, it came up. It was Pall Mall, like spelled Pallmall, and someone said that, and our professor stopped them and said, "Do you know how the British say that?" And okay, so I'm going to preface this also by saying I can't do accents, but what I thought was under my breath, I was like, yeah, Pall Mall, just something like that. But it turned out I wasn't really paying attention, and it wasn't under my breath. Literally, like the whole class was able to hear me. And it was like Pell Mell. I was wrong too. Like I wasn't even catching the joke he was making. But just embarrassing stories from.
I would have thought it was Pool Moo.
Cool moo.
Maybe it depends on the region you're in.
Yeah. If they were in Wales, that sounds good.
But then it'd have a bunch of extra letters that you don't pronounce.
Well,
Well, I just learned that the W in Wales, not the actual W in the word Wales, but the letter W in Welsh is pronounced like a double O, like ooh. Like W, get it? Like ooh, makes sense.
Double U.
W.
Doublez-vous.
Hey, segue to language corner right there.
Segue.
Holy cow. I didn't even mean to do that.
Hey, speaking
Well,
of
it's
pronunciations of W, in Catalan, you
Yeah.
pronounce it like a B.
Guys, can I say we gotta stop saying the word segue when we're making a segue because it just makes it not smooth.
Oh, oops.
Yeah, this is the smooth Airship, smooth podcast, smooth air archaeology.
Yeah,
Smooth.
it's as smooth.
World-renowned professionalism.
Yes, but you're a flawless segue. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just thinking we can transition away from things in the taxes and the things and go to the words.
If you're transitioning, you're the one who's got to take it and go.
Yeah, do your thing, Taylor.
My thing. Oh yeah. So, what am I doing right now? Let me open up now. we're gonna start Marty, my French friend that everyone here knows. We're gonna start translating Baudelaire in the next couple weeks. He's just been kind of busy, and I've been busy.
Ooh.
But anyway, I've been reading The Wake by Paul Kingsnorth. There we go. Sorry. And it came out last year from FSG. It's a novel set during William the Conqueror's invasion of the British island in 1066.
Are you sure it didn't come out in 2014?
In England it was 14. In America it was 15.
Okay.
He's English, the guy. Anyway, he invented this language, kind of. It's his own Englishism that's supposed to represent Old English. So there's no capitals. The punctuation is minimal. There's periods and paragraph breaks, but there's no commas or apostrophes or anything. And there's no Latinate words at all. It's all Germanic. For the most part. There's some exceptions that just for the sake of clarity. But it takes like a good 20, 30 pages before you can actually get the rhythm of how it works, because you're just kind of stumbling over these words. And it has a partial glossary in the back for Old English words, like bird is fugel. There's like ham and fen and goose, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But I just hit about the halfway point, and the French are crazy. But the main character, whose name is Bookmaster, he's even more crazy and likes to kill people. Anyway, it's kind of like a fun brain testing read, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like reading a really dense philosophical text or some mathematical treatise, but it's in our own language, how it used to be 1,000 years ago.
You know,
that's so interesting.
Hurting my brain just thinking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way you were describing it, I thought you were going to say it was published in like 1852, but
yeah,
no.
It got a lot of press from kind of both like medievalists and like modern avant-garde writers. Of course, there's a review on the front by this Irish author, Emer McBride, who her latest novel is almost similarly unintelligible because it's like in an Irish idiom, stream of conscious. And it just made me laugh when I saw it. I'm like, of course you'd like it. It's unintelligible. But it's really fun. I would recommend it, even though it sounds atrocious. I mean, check it out from the library or something and give it a try, because it's just fun. And it's extremely fun when you make people try to read it aloud, because it's absolutely hilarious.
Is that a challenge?
It's not a challenge.
Podcast new corner next time.
Can't read aloud.
Yeah. Can you read us a little section?
I want to go get Marty to do it, because he ends up lapsing into like a Scottish accent, and it's hilarious.
I mean, we have time. That's
yes,
all.
please.
That's okay. Well, we'll do it next time. I'll prepare something.
Okay. Sounds good.
Isaac.
And is there anything else? Anything else you've been reading recently, Taylor? Something Greek, perhaps?
Yeah, oh my gosh, I'm expecting
How did I guess?
a two-wheeled scooter-like object coming up. Yeah, I'm still reading through the Iliad. Is that what you're talking about?
I don't know. What are you talking about? You tell me.
I did, yeah. So I tried to make it a goal to read through the Iliad this April. It's kind of slowing down because I've been trying to keep up on reading for work and.
Yeah, you only got 2 days left.
Sorry? Yeah, right. I have about 16 books, maybe less than that. I could do it. It's easy.
Yeah, no problem.
Rereading that kind of for fun, post classics major, which you get a little bit different style out of it because you're reading it for pleasure and not school. I mean, I remember reading it in either middle school or high school for the first time and just being like, ugh. It was a bad translation. It was some nasty prose work and from I think it was what's his name, Samuel Butler, whom now I just don't like because of that.
But
oh, and I also found a used copy of Alexander Pope's translation of the Iliad for an affordable $10. So I picked that up. That was he's kind of been known as the greatest translator of the Iliad of all time. People will, of course, argue against that, probably rightfully in certain ways, but it's a lot of fun as well.
Yeah.
And I think those are the only two things I've been reading. I've been trying to pick up another nonfiction book for work, a newer book so I can sell and talk about, but nothing's really catching me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in that old English mood, man. Isaac,
Like the malt liquor or the...
yeah. Are you still reading Little History?
Yes, I'm near the end. Don't spoil the Vietnam War. I don't know what's happening next. I think we're going to win it. We've won the last 10 in a row.
We have a great track record.
We're on fire.
Fire? Oh, gosh.
I mean, I'm surprised you even know it's a war at this point. Isn't it just like a military engagement?
Oh, yes, sorry. I meant the, U.S. annexation of northern Vietnam.
That's what the cool kids call it.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool, yeah. I'm still stuck in the Civil War reconstruction in that book. I think I kind of lost the book. I actually don't know where it is.
Oh.
That's probably why I'm not reading it. If it's not visible, I forget about things. Well,
It's like kind of like object permanence for you.
yeah. I'm still like 7 months old in my mental capacity.
You can only really think that one book exists at a time.
That's right, yeah. It's very tough for me.
Yeah.
All right. Sam, are you reading anything other than studying for your law?
I actually just finished a book called Nudge, if you've heard of that.
That's
Yeah.
I don't know his name, sorry.
It's two economists, I think, that wrote the book together, and it's just the idea of they have the idea of it's like paternalistic libertarianism. So the idea of still maintaining the freedom of choice while still making it likely that people will choose the choice that will be best for them.
Yeah.
And so it's like the ideas of like the defaults that you choose when you have to sign up for something, or like when you put things at the sight line when you walk into a store. It's like that's kind of the nudge that they're talking about. And so the book was really just like the first two chapters setting up their like idea of what a nudge is and like why nudges are important. And then the rest of the book was really just examples of how nudges either worked out in a way or should have been used in a certain way. So, but it was good. Yeah.
There was a mini in the Atlantic magazine. There's a mini, what they call the study of studies. It's like a tiny paragraph length blurb about various topics that they researched, and there's usually 8 to 10 academic articles or books that they cite from, and it's like each sentence is this profound point. But that reminded me because a few months ago, or maybe about a year ago now, there was a study of studies on like marketing techniques, and it went into depth like the nudge, where when you walk into a store, like even what color the walls are, the temperature, what kind of music's playing, to all the way to like what candle's burning and what kind of scent you're smelling, it totally influences how you view things and how you purchase things.
Yeah.
I wonder if they use that book.
And it's one of those things where I read the book and I'm like, oh yes, I'm going to be so good at like fighting against those nudges now. But it's like, but even if I was completely 100% vigilant against them, I'm sure there's still 1,000 things that are influencing me in ways that I don't even know.
Be careful. I mean, the fame of our podcast will convince marketers to like do anti-nudges.
Yeah. Oof.
Where are all your products? Oh, we've put them in various places. What do you need? And then you buy more.
We've spilled them all over the floor. The opposite of eye level, whatever that is.
Well, it's interesting just because all over the floor reminded me of random, but then a lot of people you would think like, well, just arrange things randomly, because like, then it's fair because no matter what you're doing, it's random. But then there's the idea that even if you arrange things randomly, something is going to be put in a place of prominence, like something is going to be nudged. And so if you do it randomly, then you also just have no control over that. And if you do it, it's like if you do it randomly from store to store, like say it's a franchise and it's just randomly across the stores, then some stores could get a vastly different experience. Like people would have a vastly different experience going to some stores. They use the example of a school cafeteria, like how you arrange the food in a school cafeteria. And if you did it randomly, one cafeteria, they'd be nudged into really healthy eating habits, and the other ones, they'd be only eating like brownies and cookies and getting fat. And so it's like the idea of randomness, that's still not, like, that's not
You're
fair.
saying it's not random?
Almost.
That's the thing about randomness. You can never tell.
Thank you.
Ding dong dong.
6, 6, 6, 6, 6.
Reference to something?
I was backtracking on Isaac's random blurb.
Oh, okay.
I was bringing in context that was very obscure. See, wasn't that Dilbert?
You referenced a Dilbert
there
cartoon
you
from 1996 or something. Yeah.
Wow, that was quite the memory.
If there's one person who's going to know that, I'm not surprised that it's Isaac.
Yeah. Hey, I sold that the Scott Adams book the other day, the one we both read.
Yeah, you did.
It was awesome. I had a special order because she didn't have it in the roof, but the guy's like, "I've been wanting to read this for so long, and I forgot about it." I'm like, "You're gonna have quite the fun time reading this." It's a good one.
He's for those not in the know, Scott Adams, the creator writer of Dilbert, wrote a sort of self-help book, sort of called How to
Fail at everything. And still
How to fail at everything and still come out on top, or something like that. Where he outlines his kind of general process of how to approach projects and learning from failures and all these kind of systemic kind of things, which I find very neat, very interesting.
Is it How to Fail at Everything and Still Win Big?
Yes, that's it.
Big and Orange. Well, I mean, he's pretty good, but we all know that the best Dilbert franchise thing is that one movie Travis forgot from that one time.
Yeah, they had a whole TV show, yeah.
Oh man, I love that.
The theme was the best thing. It was the most 90s thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Beautiful.
Isaac, do you have anything that you want to share? Maybe something having to do with, if I had to guess, food? I don't know.
Ah, yes. So welcome to the new segment, Quick Hit Culinary Corner.
Woo!
Ding, 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 ding.
Today's...
Hey, Taylor, you want to start playing that instrument you had earlier?
Thank you.
Is that...
I expected more, but that's cool.
Sorry, Joel only has 2 wine glasses on the table today.
So today's Quick Hit Culinary Corner is featuring sherry vinegar, or vinagre de Jerez. And it is quite the fun product. It's a vinegar that is made with sherry wine.
No way.
And it's really awesome in things where it's like you're featuring vinegar flavor. Like I wouldn't just dump it in a stew or whatever, but it's got a lot of depth. It's got a lot of interesting characteristics like sherry has, and I would give it a thumbs up. In things like vinaigrettes.
How do you think it would go? Like how close is in flavor profile? How close is it to like balsamic?
It's not like balsamic. It's more like white wine vinegar.
Okay. So how do you think it would go in salsa?
It might actually.
Yeah, I had a salsa just yesterday, and can't remember the vinegar, but I think it was like a champagne or a white wine vinegar, and it just like blew me away. I'd never had a homemade salsa with that kind of vinegar in it. I usually use like lime juice.
Interesting, yeah.
That sounds good.
Well, yeah, it's a lot like white wine, but in the way that you know.
In the way that you use. Sorry.
Nice. In the way that the oxidized types of sherries, not the Fino, but the other types they build that kind of depth of flavor. It's more like that. It's very neat.
Would it go good in like a barbecue sauce?
Ooh.
I think it would.
I'm hungry now.
You wouldn't want to like overpower it with like you definitely want to use it in a vinegar-based sauce, but I think it'd be good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a big fan of vinegar-based barbecue.
Nom.
Mm. Oh, I'm so hungry now.
Yeah, seriously, that was a bad idea. I don't like that.
Mm-hmm. I think we should just probably end it now and go eat something.
Yeah, go eat. That'd be Yamasaurus.
Boar's Nest Run.
Oh my gosh, I've been going there so much lately.
Boar's Nest.
No joke.
I miss that. I miss that about Seattle.
Oh, I love that place. The guy almost.
I was there just the other week because Yeah.
Hey guys, this is a really good organic sponsorship.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
I wonder if they do mail orders,
What?
delivery.
Hmm.
That'd be rad.
I love their food, but I gotta say, I love that that place exists. Like, you roll in there in the middle of Ballard, and they serve Southern food. They have Shinerbach. They've got baseball, college baseball playing on the TV, and it's just like you're in a little part of a different world.
Yeah. It smells like smoke and meat.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, smoking meat.
Smoking meat. Yeah, I think in April alone I went 3 times.
As Sam reminded us, April is not yet over.
It isn't. I'm going to go tomorrow now that we talked about that, and probably Saturday.
Yeah, you could still go many times more.
That's right. I'm going to go for breakfast. Oh, man. That's yum. I was just thinking, of all the things I miss, it's the barbecue at 3820.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Just none of that. Just no outdoor cooking.
We should have a barbecue the weekend of the 26th of June.
Yesterday? Tuesday? Of June? Where
Yeah.
are we going to be doing that? Are you going to be in town?
Well, on the 26th, I will. What?
On the day you said?
Well, the weekend of the 26th. So, so the 26th is the Sunday, I believe, and so be available on Saturday, which is the 25th. For those of you doing some quick mental math. But on the 26th, I'm going to a wedding. But Sarah and I plan on coming out for the whole weekend, starting Friday night.
Okay. We can probably do that.
I'm down.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Barbecue.
Barbecue. 20... Okay, wait. I need to put this in the old calendar. I can do that later. 26th. That's a Thursday. Nope, that's
No, it's
May. Whoa, buddy.
Oh, yeah. I'm planning
Okay,
ahead.
yeah. Good. We'll get that on. Let's do that.
But the 25th.
Okay. Which is a Saturday, yeah?
Is this still the podcast?
Yeah.
I don't even know now.
Yeah,
Okay,
man, who
cool.
cares?
Okay. Everyone's invited.
Yeah. Yeah. If you know what we're saying when we say barbecue at 3820, you're welcome to come.
I hope we're not doing it at 3820. I mean, we could.
3808.
We could. That'd be really funny.
Yeah.
Get there
Just
really
roll
early
up.
and just fire up the grill. And yeah.
Hmm.
Hey, guys.
We'll do that. It's good.
Cool. I look forward to it.
What's going on my calendar? Need a burrito.
Who knows, man?
Well, in
Podcast.
touch. Yeah.
That noise you just heard was the screeching halt of the...
Thanks for hanging with us today at Airship Archaeology. Join us again next time for more scintillating discussion. I, for one, cannot wait. I have been the announcer guy, and I'm signing off. Cheerio.